There is one paper that changed the history of language learning. In the academic world, a paper cited 1,000 times is called a landmark. This one has been cited about 30,000 times. It is Principles and Practice in Second Language Acquisition, written by Professor Stephen Krashen. In it, Krashen made a bold claim. There is only one way to truly acquire a language. His theory is over 40 years old, and some parts have since been proven wrong. But on his most important point, researchers still agree today. And that is exactly the point most struggling learners miss. Think about the study methods people believe in: showering yourself in English audio, going through textbooks again, studying every day with a famous app, watching language programs on TV, signing up for conversation lessons because you want to speak. According to Krashen, all 5 of these are poor methods. The reason comes down to one concept: comprehensible input. Input is the language that comes into you through listening and reading, and comprehensible means you can understand it. We acquire a language, Krashen argued, by receiving lots of input we actually understand. First, what does comprehensible really mean? Imagine listening to Russian or Swahili with no help at all. You could listen 100 times, and it would still mean nothing. Sounds you cannot make sense of are processed by the brain as noise. That is why the English shower fails for beginners. Now flip the situation. Suppose you hear a short Swahili phrase while watching a video of a woman greeting an old man on his way to the field in the morning. Even without a dictionary, you can guess it means good morning. That is comprehensible input. You take in language in a state where you can correctly guess the meaning. The key ingredient here is context. Words only live inside context. A word in a dictionary is like a specimen in a museum, dead and pinned down. The situation, the objects around, the gestures and facial expressions, all of that helps you understand. You need to take in living words. And now the problem with textbooks and apps becomes clear. Textbooks are full of unnatural phrases, with no video, no gestures, no faces, sometimes not even audio. Apps mostly show isolated words and sentences, cut off from any real situation. TV language programs at least have video, but the amount of real, living language is tiny. In a 15-minute show, the actual story might last 30 seconds. And there is another problem: interest. Krashen said that language acquisition happens when we focus on the message, not the form. It is a byproduct of a compelling story or an interesting conversation. In other words, you have to genuinely care about the content. Some people love sports, some love dogs, some love mysteries or world news. You should learn through what actually interests you. But here is the biggest problem of all. Interesting content in a foreign language is usually too difficult for beginners, so it stops being comprehensible. For 40 years, this was the wall standing in front of Krashen's theory. Textbooks are the right level but boring. Real content is fascinating but too hard. Today, though, AI finally lets us break through that wall, because AI can adjust the difficulty of any content you like. Here is a simple routine. Say you find a news article that catches your eye, but it is long and full of hard words. First, send it to an AI and ask for a 3-panel illustration of the story. That gives you visual hints without spoiling everything in your own language. Second, ask the AI to rewrite it as a 200-word summary in middle school English, with hard words listed and translated at the end. Third, read that short text once, using the pictures and the word list as hints. If it is still too hard, ask the AI to simplify further. Fourth, have the AI read it aloud and listen 2 or 3 times while following the text. Fifth, read it again at your own pace, holding on to the meaning. Sixth, read it aloud yourself, slowly, understanding every sentence you speak. With this routine, you go through the same 200 words 5 times. That equals 1,000 words of input in 10 to 15 minutes. Do it daily, and you take in about 30,000 words a month, and 100,000 in 3 months. Most learners simply lack volume. Reach that first 100,000 words, and something surprising happens. You start understanding English directly, without translating in your head. Keep going toward 1,000,000, and English begins to pop into your mind on its own. So the recipe has 4 conditions, all at once. Content you care about, living words, in a form you can understand, in massive amounts. You do not need to do anything difficult. Given enough comprehensible input, your brain quietly gathers its own statistics on how words are used. 10 minutes a day is enough to start building that foundation.